Okay, getting on. So we'll just cover a few topics. I couldn't get to make all of it. I figure we have enough to talk about in the first four sections. This is what I made the slides on because I also wanted to keep some live examples and the helpful tools and all that. I wanted to show it live, so I did not prepare the last three aspects because a lot can be talked about it and it's very individualized approach. So one size fits all doesn't work. It's more individual based. So last two points I will have to sort of look at. I'll briefly discuss it, but I won't go into much detail. Okay, so we just take a top down approach as to what economy does and how I personally come down to the company level. Okay, what I mean, I've discussed this in the group as well, so I'll repeat it. It's not an issue. So I want to know first of all what overall economy is doing. Is the market sort of trending up or is it going sideways? There's conflicting news coming up, that sort of stuff. Is there any major data coming like CPI data? Past 2 years, the interest rates were higher and stuff. So a lot of talks and media narrative was sort of going around between will the rate cuts happen today or next month and whatever. So media just wants to keep viewership going on the edge, so they would do anything to catch the grab the headlines and make it more catchy. Yeah. So oh, okay. So first of all, GDP. Okay. Top level approach, nothing to go super economics based. Basically, we all hear about GDP, GDP, GDP. US is 35 trillion GDP. China is whatever 20 trillion GDP. India is barely touching 4 trillion GDP. So what actually is the measurement of GDP? So GDP is calculated with this formula. So one is consumer spending, second is business investments, and third is the government spending, and fourth is the net exports minus import. Okay, so why consumer spending is sort of important? It basically is the biggest contributor to the GDP. Okay, but not the most important. So we have to understand that consumer spending is basically the income for the government. Whatever we pay taxes on, either be it house as a land transfer tax or food we eat, GST, transports, taxes like income taxes, business taxes, that sort of stuff all comes under consumer spending. The better the consumer spending or the higher the consumer spending happens means consumers are happy, they have extra money to spend, and they can spend, economy flourishes, everything goes up, and everybody's happy. Second is business investment. This is more important compared to the C is the consumer spending, which has a higher weightage, which basically is the heartbeat of the GDP. Yes. I is the investment. So how much is the businesses across or the billionaires or whoever else they are invest or the funds with a lot of money, how much they are investing in your own economy or the country. So uh, because once the businesses come, they set up a plant or they offer a financial or technology services or whatever they're doing, they are helping the C because they'll set up a business, they will need employees will generate employment will be generated, those employees will go out and spend money in the markets, either buying food, buying home, buying vehicles, buying apparels, all that sort of stuff. They'll form families around it. It's not just male workers like how they have in Dubai, imported labor, not that sort of stuff. So business investments sort of drives the consumer spendings, right? That's why they're sort of more important. If there's no business investments, consumers can't earn money. Can't earn money means can't spend. Okay. Now, C is the consumer taxes, and I is sort of a corporate taxes. Okay, both the taxes are the income for the government, and G is the government spending. So, the government gets the income, and then government spends it on building infrastructure, building healthcare, building everything else. Okay, so and they sort of manage it on budget to budget. Okay, and they'll come up with a budget, um, going making one aspect better, other aspect taking from one aspect and distributing it to the other aspect, that sort of stuff. Third is a net export, so which is export minus import. Now, for a country like US, their exports are more than imports. Their imports uh, is not oil. Okay, for a country like India, import is a big factor. Oil is the biggest expenditure for us. So India or China or anything else. For oil producing or OPEC countries, exports are the resources, the oil. Okay, so that's what basically is. Okay, so government will always look to find ways to increase their exports and decrease their imports, and then more or less their at least their policies are around those, that how can we get more exports and more exports. Okay, so that's what it is. What US did with China, exporting all the manufacturing in China, was that they started importing more at a cheaper price. But that helped consumer spending because now people can buy more stuff at a cheaper rate. So China made, let's say, 17 trillion, for example, by getting the outsourced manufacturing. Okay, but US's economy made 35 trillion. Okay, so basically double or triple that because they were able to manufacture the goods outside and then they were just consuming and consuming. Okay, so that's just an example of, I mean, one of the many examples of why exports minus imports, they are important. So so we'll just go down from the economy to the individual companies. Now, anytime when there is a particular news coming out as to is the economy doing well or not. So in the higher interest rate cycles, usually banks are better performing because now basically because of the arbitrage, right? They were uh, getting the money and they were lending money. The difference was the interest rate that they used to charge. With the higher interest rate, they can keep doing the same stuff, but they get paid higher. So the arbitrage was, how they why some of the banks sort of fail and some of the other banks flourish is the matter of how much risky bets, risky lending they were doing. Okay, so that's why the economy, sorry, that's why the banking sector sort of sees that fluctuations. Okay, then we come down to the industry. So financial sector, then the industry would be the banks, and then the companies would be individual companies like banks, for example, TD or RBC or whatever else. Um, in terms of, in other examples, say for example this war situation was going on, is going on, immediately first sector that comes to your mind or anybody's mind is, hey, defense. Okay, perfect, defense. What defense has, three, four, five, I don't know, I haven't looked into it, but they have other industries. Okay, aircrafts, aircraft carriers, so basically shipbuildings, telecommunications, cyber security, all that sort of stuff. Okay, so these are 4 or 5 different sectors in any industry, 4 or 5 different industries in any sector, sorry. And then from them you can narrow down to individual company. Okay, so that's basically what I do when I see a particular sector is going up for whatever geopolitical or global event. I want to hone down to the framework that I have built upon for myself, that I will trade these kind of stocks and this particular industry. So I look in when I filter stocks, there's first thing is the company name, second column is the market cap, and the third column is the industry. because for me, I want to know which industry is having the tailwind. Okay, which industry has the news that it can propel the prices higher. So the biggest or the best example I could give you is when Russia opened the front at Ukraine. Okay, at that day, I remember specifically oil and gas sector, all the all the stocks from oil and gas, they were all up. Okay, and I tweeted in the I messaged in the group saying days like today are the ways where you can build your watch list because there's a global event, big shock. So market doesn't like shocks. So when there's a shock type of situation happening, then something always emerges up, particularly sectors emerges, and then from those sectors you can hone down, make a whole list, and then see how the whole sector is performing. When the whole sector is performing, your bet becomes safer. Okay, you could pick a very bad company which could be a laggard, but it will still perform, not as much, but at least it will not go down or it will not go reverse. Okay, this is just uh, making it easier for building a strategy. Okay, whenever you're building a strategy, always look yourself, always build yourself a sector and then industry and then the list of the companies. I have the watch list based on each and every um, sector. So marijuana stocks, I have one list, and then there's Bitcoin, there's another list, there's oil and gas, there's another list, and then based on that you can move up or down the based on the market cap. If you like to trade in a larger market cap, you put a section saying, okay, these are the larger market caps, and these are mid size, and these are small size. That sort of helps you. Okay, these are the three filters I would always use without looking at everything else, technical or anything else. Okay, or not even fundamental, technicals or fundamentals, they will come after. These should be the first main criteria. um, Stock price, sector, industry, and sorry, stock price, sector, and market cap. Okay, these three will filter out a lot of good things. It will show you uh, which ones to focus on, which ones not to. Okay. Okay, next. So how does economy work? There's ways to manage an economy. Usually governments and central banks are the key players in the key stakeholders into managing the economy. One is a fiscal policy. So I'm sure you all of us have heard this in the news that fiscal policies has been talk of the town and whatnot. So fiscal policy is basically driven by government to stabilize an economy. So best thing is the COVID situation. Okay, government will regulate the spendings and the tax. So it's either they will cut the spendings and increase the tax, or they will increase the spendings and lower the tax, or this thing. Depending, it's an expansionary or contractionary in nature. So expansionary means government to spend more money to build, say for example, infrastructure or EV infrastructure or green revolution, that sort of stuff. Contractionary means, okay, we don't have any money, just cut down all the useless departments, which is what Argentina did. The new, I think, prime minister or the leader, whoever came, he shut down. He said, okay, our country is going through depression, so let's just cut all the spendings. And then he basically made a video saying, I'm going to shut down 16 ministries. So he shut down, saying we don't have money for it. Come to senses. Okay, so that's contractionary in nature. Second is monetary policy. Policy is driven by the central banks or the Federal Reserve in US's case. They basically control the money supply. Okay, if the money is cheap, they will want, if money becomes too cheap, then they will want to put control or put brakes on it to control the inflation, because when money becomes too cheap, everything becomes more expensive. Okay, and when money is not cheap, so for example right now they are going to say, okay, we are going to hike interest, sorry, we are going to cut the rates so that people can start spending more, and they are not everybody is, house poor. Basically, they have a house, but they don't have any extra cash. So basically, asset rich and cash flow poor. So central banks regulates the rate hikes and rate cuts. Okay, that's why Jerome Powell becomes the Superman of the stock market, because everybody listens to him very very closely. Okay, so next. Okay, market movers. What sort of events moves the market, the stock market, especially, along with the other commodities and futures and everything, which we will get to that next one. So any in national or international geopolitical event. So for example, war, like for example, right now is a perfect timing. We've talked about this in the group as well. Anytime there's a new front that is opened by Israel, gold prices shoot up, and oil prices sort of fluctuates up and down. Okay, when Ukraine war happened that day, I'll show you in the chart. That day, or at least that month, it was a huge spike in the oil, which again was the same previous example. Okay. Second was COVID. Nobody thought COVID would happen, and everything would be shut down, and happens. Bank failures. So 2007, 2008 crisis was because of the banks that had failed. So those are the important events that sort of moves the markets in a big way. Demonetization for India, for those of you who know, that was also again quite a big of a national event. Nothing geopolitically or internationally, but yeah, it did affect a lot of people's life. Uh, Government announcing any new policies. Yeah, this is quite a big one, and I usually now I've come to this stage that I want to see what government is actually doing and what government is actually looking at. And that's where I see the next opportunity for medium to long term. Okay, because we all know how fast the governments work and how easy it is for to let the government take a policy decision and then work actually reach the ground. Okay, so that's why I say medium to long term, not long term, because things can move rather very quickly or be slow as a snail. So in US's case, marijuana legalization, okay, that was big event. As soon as Colorado had said, okay, we are going to legalize marijuana for recreational use, and I was at the forefront. I had just started trading a month or two ago, and I was hit by this massive storm of weed stocks. So that's where I actually started trading. All the penny stocks, weed stocks were just going humongous. Like I'll show you in the chart. It's just, oh man, amazing. You cannot have any like better rally than those stock of 2014. It was very nice. Um New inventions. So, for example, Tesla coming out with like new car or new product, anything like that. New inventions gonna happen. For example, COVID vaccines. They were the new inventions. So that sort of pushed the vaccine prices. All the Pfizer's, Moderna, all the other ones. They sort of kept going because that was the need of the hour. Okay. Shift towards green. Yeah, this is a big one. Lot of countries have internationally, at least within the UN and the G20 and all these other meetings that they keep meeting, they have now come to a consensus that what, now we're going to shift the technology from polluting ones to the green ones. Okay, and sort of Tesla, all the other ones, renewable energy. We've seen the rise in 2021, I believe. All the renewable energy stocks, they were just going bonkers because of that. So yeah, Fed chairman Jerome Powell, he is the biggest market mover. He is the biggest mover and shaker. He has learned the art of public speaking and not to spook the markets by saying wrong words or giving a wrong body language signal. So biggest one for now. um, if you're looking for company specific news, so Company specific news, the first and the biggest one now that I'm currently looking at is the earnings. Because earnings, if they are good, or at least I don't know how to break down the earnings as much as the other guys who will actually look at the fundamentals and do a, they're better than me. What I do look at is the reaction, and then I look at the chart. So I put two and two together, and then I'll break it down in the chart section when we once we go with the example. The recent earnings of Shop was good, and the stock gap up. So I want to look at first thing is the big gap up or big gap down, and that sort of gives me the interest to look at. Otherwise, I don't look at earnings unless there's a good enough gap up or gap down. Then plan my trade based on that. At least if I'm, swing trading this. New product launch or event. So Apple event always good drivers for Apple stocks or any of these, Tesla events or nowadays Nvidia events and things like that. Nvidia earnings also were going up. Was the best performing stock the whole of this year. So yeah, billionaires investing. This is not a thing anymore. This doesn't really drive the company specific as much because nowadays people have learned that okay, this theme is sort of over. But back in the day, Carl Icahn, the investor, he used to go and invest in companies, and just with the name Carl Icahn in the press release companies will put out, and stock will just run for weeks, couple of weeks, 2 3 weeks, and then they'll just sustain there. Kathy Wood, everybody knows that. um, CEO change. This one, recent example, Starbucks. So yeah, perfect. CEO change never gets old. If you want to track companies with a good specific news, and if CEO change gives the stock a spike, that's the day one is the first hour or whatever it's worth getting into. So Starbucks was the best one. It jumped from what 75, I think, Nikhil, 75 to like what 90 something, 75 to 85. Anyways, it had the 20% plus.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, 20% plus just at the opening hour. Okay, so it jumped that much in pre-market, and right now also it's sort of in the 90s. So yeah, perfect uh, driver of stock price. Uplisting to the higher exchange. So if a stock is getting uplisted, anytime it has PR or news release saying, "Oh, uplisting, we are uplisting to this," this stock is going to run because think about it. It's like a promotion for a company because when you're getting into higher exchange requires higher auditing and compliances and things like that. Not every company is able to fulfill those. Okay, so just to give you an example, small cap companies who are late on their quarterly filings or any of those things will stay there because they have not met with the company's the compliances and audits. Now, recently, the very good example was SMCI. SMCI, they were supposed to release the earnings, I think, quarter or 2 quarters ago. And then the day they were supposed to bring out earnings, they said, "Oh, we have asked for the deferment with the SEC to do it 2 weeks after." That stock tanked. I'll show you on the chart. That stock tanked because investors are getting nervous now. Like, why would you do that? Okay, why would you do that? That I will. It's like someone you have an interview to go to, and you are saying, "Hey, I'll be half an hour late." Sorry, you're not getting the job. Okay, so that's what investors think of when they read news like this. Your companies are not supposed to delay or defer their earnings. That means you're sort of cooking your books. So so yeah. Anyway, that's one thing. Biotech, this is particularly for biotech sector only. I hate this sector. It's just random. If you could avoid with 10-foot pole, please do. Unless Dr. Sab, you know you know how biotech works, then it's okay. But still, there's a grave, uh, distress amongst the investors. A lot of people have gone through very bad times. Personally, I know some very good friend of mine. But yeah, it's doesn't matter if you're a subject matter expert or not. You come to the trading world. Trading world is going to take you for a spin if you don't know what you're doing. So, so yeah. Anyway, the phase one, two, and three. Okay, so it's an increment. So phase one news, no one cares about. Phase two, okay, something going on there. At least you got to phase two. Phase three is good. It's like a 3 star, 4 star. It's actually 4 star. Endpoints even higher, 4.5 stars. Okay, because after phase three comes the endpoints. So little that I know. So it's for biotech. Phase one no one cares about or has lesser importance. Phase two has a little bit more importance, and phase three and has more importance, and endpoints has higher than phase three. Okay. If they put out any happy press releases, achieved this thing, that thing, all the good verbs and proverbs and adjectives, that means they are trying to get the stock price up. But please avoid this sector. There's a lot of dilution happens. Companies, they run on very thin margin. It requires capital intensive business to get a drug to the market. At least $1 billion in 10 years is minimum. Okay, so that's what's required, and a lot of these companies you'll find in a small cap gutter. uh, so please avoid it. uh, Market moving PRs or press releases: cancer, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, and diabetes. These four diseases, if their companies is working on, uh, look out for these. Or if they do any joint acquisitions or something. So yeah, these are market loves these cures for these four diseases. It's a big thing in US. FDA approval again. Any company getting FDA approval is obviously, it's like a stamp that okay, we are going to now take it to the market. So that's like the final thing. So after this, company is good basically, or the product is, or their drug is good. Okay. Any sort of contract win, for not necessarily for bigger companies but smaller companies, these contract wins are huge. Okay, especially if it comes with big companies. So if they collab with big companies, or if they get a contract with the big companies. There was another company just now, we talked about. I'm forgetting its name. It had a contract with Nvidia, and that stock ran like it had no tomorrow. Okay, and obviously it's a perfect storm with the semiconductor stocks going on. So any of these small companies saying okay, we are going to either collab or we're getting a contract from Nvidia, just the name Nvidia in their press release is what I'm looking for as a trader. And like most of the traders are like that. Okay, they don't have they have a split second to react and get in the trade. So anyway, that's that. Joint ventures. If there's a joint venture going on, especially for the infrastructure projects, joint ventures are uh, sort of a stamp that things are moving ahead, and we are going to put a joint venture out, and then construction or whatever work will begin. So especially in the Sydney area, for the water desalination water plants and things like that, they have to make a joint venture, because not one company will do all the work, from civil to mechanical to electrical to water purification. So they have to make joint ventures with 4 or 5 different big companies, and then they will contract out for individual to the smaller companies. So this is usually how it works. Okay. Isn't it? Okay. Interrelation between forex commodities. I know I'm jumping ship from stocks to interrelation, but sorry, I don't have it planned. I could have planned it better, but this is where we are anyway. Interrelation between forex, commodities, equities, and bond market. So basically, money. Why understanding this relation is important is to keep your portfolio safe. Okay, money flows between these 4 or 5 different asset classes. it goes from equities to forex, forex to commodities, commodities to bond markets. Basically, there's a uh, interrelation. So what we need to do is we need to understand first of all four two three different things. One is the US dollar index, okay? Because forex is the biggest market size. Okay, it trades around some websites say 5 trillion, some websites say 7.5 trillion dollars in a traded volume in each day. Stock market is approximately worldwide stock market is about 200 billion. Okay, so it's basically a mammoth. Forex currency. This thing is a mammoth. It is used for country to country trades. The international trades get settled in forex. So central banks are also getting involved. There's whole international money markets and things like that. When the governments and big corporates they are looking to raise money, they go to forex and they go to the international money markets, and there's basically forex involved in that. So anyways, it's a big thing. US dollar index is the reserve currency of the world. I don't know for how long, but let's see. For now it is okay. It's not going anywhere anytime soon, but structurally it's weakening. So that's why the talks of de-dollarizations are going on, which we will get to in the next part. But that's basically what is going on. So foreign exchange, so US dollar reserve currency, it's called the dollar index, US dollar index. Ticker symbol is DXY. When the US dollar is sort of going down, it pushes the equity markets up. Okay, which means that the strength in the US dollar is going down. Okay, that means money is now going into the emerging markets or different markets. Okay, that's why that inverse correlation, which we will again see, that inverse correlation is sort of very important to know on a day-to-day basis or weekly basis to make. That's basically the first step, what market will be doing or what market is doing. DXY, always look at that. I look at DXY first thing. Treasury bonds, I've started looking at treasury 2 years and 10 years, and there is a relation between that. So first bond markets, first forex, DXY index. Second is the bond market. Bond market, why? Because right now if the rates are getting cut, okay, the same money that you used to park, any or the investors or banks or funds who used to park their money into the bonds, buying the bonds because it's safer and you get a higher yield. Why higher yield? Okay, I'll just give you an example. What is a bond? Bond is basically a debt instrument. If I want to raise money saying, hey, I need to build a house, I need $1 million. Okay, so I go to someone and say, hey, if you can give me $1 million, I will pay you that $1 million back in increments. Okay, and then at the end of those 10 years or 5 years, I will pay you back the whole $1 million. So not just for those period you're getting the fixed income, which is why it's called fixed income asset. It's you'll get the whole money back, so your money is safe. It's not like equities; it's money contracts and expands, right? So that's why bond yield, when there is a increase in the when there is more demand, the bond yield goes up. When there is less demand, bond yield goes down. And it's bond yield and bond markets, bonds prices have inverse correlation. Okay, um, because money usually flows between equities and bond back and forth, along with commodities, but not as much. But yeah, money if it's coming out of equities market, is going into the bonds or commodities. So understanding is important. Whether you know or don't know, will it affect you much? Not necessarily. It did not affect me much until I learned it, and then now I have a clearer view. Okay. Commodities, yeah. So commodities are important for industrialization. It's very cyclical in nature. and it's once it starts a trend, it's lasts longer compared to any of the um, bonds or equities. Cyclical in nature because if you think about 12 years ago, there's a gold. Gold was gold prices were topped at $2,000 12 years ago, and it's now break that after 12 years. Okay, so if you consider between 5 or 6 years ago, gold price was at the bottom. So what will happen 6 years from now? We already know. Okay, so it's sort of cyclical in nature. But once those trends break, because it has a longer lasting impact, these trends last for good few months to few years. Okay, and the last, okay, bottoms up approach. No matter what, uh, I mean, markets are doing, bond markets, money is flowing from this way to that way, and everything in between. Bottoms up approach basically says you work on yourself first, everything will come after. Okay, learning how to trade will actually make you money rather than economy will make you money. Okay, economy can keep going on at a certain pace, but if you don't know how to position yourself, and if you don't know the ins and outs, it it will sort of not give you the best return. But if you know yourself and how you trade and how you can properly manage that, it will actually make you more money regardless of the market conditions. Market can go down and still you can make money. It's very personal in nature. You have to learn to trade. There are ways to different ways to make a trade plan, but for now we'll just keep it to that this is sort of most important because you are against yourself when it comes to trading or investing and these sort of things, because it goes back to psychology. If you hit a loss or if something happens, you take a loss, it's a problem. If you take the profits early, that's also a problem. If you did not take a profits on time, that's also affecting your psychology. So it's a mental game. Okay, how should you go about building about this approach? So first is the screen time. Screen time meaning understanding the equities or whatever you were trading, looking at that, watching it properly, how it goes up, how it goes down, what sort of events are triggering it, and that sort of stuff. Note taking. Journaling is the most and underestimated and underutilized aspect by any aspiring trader, myself included. It took me 7 8 years or so, no, 6 6 7 years to understand that heck, I should be note taking properly. I was taking notes, scrambling here and there, but it was not organized and it was affecting my trading, so to speak. But when I started organizing myself, the demons of your own psychology and psychology will come out. My demon was I did not have any patience, and that was clearly seen in the trading style that I had. Second is strategy building. So strategy building has like what patterns work for you. Are you long trader? Are you short trader? Are you buy and hold? Are you swing trader? That sort of stuff. That's a part of strategy building. And three is the discipline. How disciplined are you with executing your strategy? Okay. Step four is basically psychologically overdrive. If you want to know yourself, just become a trader, man. Your emotions will take over your logic. Doesn't matter how good logically you sound. When you start to trade, yeah, that's when the real emotions drives, and then it's the whole game of overcoming your emotions and understanding that logic will work out. Okay, so that's all the slides I have for now. Let's get into the charts. Okay, so first of all, let me hide this. How do I hide this? Can you guys see my screen? No, I haven't shared my screen. 1 second. Oh, I wasn't sharing the screen all this time. Oh, never mind. It's okay. There. Hello, hello, hello. Anybody? Hello?
We can hear you, Jan.
Okay. Are you guys able to see my screen?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, good, 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 good. That's too bad. My slides didn't. I did not start to share my screen, and I was just going through the slides. Man, I feel. But anyways, it's recorded, so it's not an issue. You guys can look at the recording again if you want to. What are some of the examples? DXY. Okay, so first of all, let's look at Nasdaq. So QQQ. Okay, like this. And then what I will do is I will look at compare it with DXY. DXY. No, not this. Add indicator. Oh, there. There. Same scale, new pane. There. Okay. So this in the bottom is the dollar index. Let me close this one up. Okay, can you see the relation at all? DXY going up here. Okay. As soon as the DXY has started coming down, the stock market has sort of going up. Look at this. We'll just look at this in a weekly chart. Will be better. Okay. So it went up here. Stock market was coming down. The Nasdaq was coming down, and then it started cracking
Generally
here.
speaking, Nasdaq is is this trend
So
hold even with SPY?
sorry, say that again.
Does the trend hold even with SPY?
Yes, yes. So let's look at SPY. Look at this. Can you see it? If I wish I could make this one bigger. Wow, please come close this up. Collapse. Oh man. There. Okay. Let's look at this. This was around 106, around here, 106, sort of coming down. Look at this from here onwards, started going up, coming down. See, all this time DXY is coming down, coming down, coming down. It sort of holds flat now. It's going up because of China stimulus. China had a stimulus program just now, 2 or 3 weeks ago, and because of that, all the Chinese stocks are now up. Okay, we'll just look at that. Look at this sharp rise. Okay, sharp rise from here all the way. So 17th September, 18th September, something like that. From here onwards, just look at this straight up. So give it up 2 or 3 weeks. Actually, around this week or next week, uh, we might get some. This news will get old. People will start digesting it, and it's like no more fancy story anyway. We might be able to get some good short term short trade out of it. Okay. I'm just looking for it at the moment because right now it has risen so fast up, very, very fast. Um, there is overhead resistance from the weekly chart. Weekly chart basically, like I said, higher trends always dictates has more weightage. Okay, so there, look at this. Okay, so 120 and between 120 and 130, these levels. So it has room, no problem, and then 130 here. I wish I could minimize this. How do I minimize this? Anyway, between 120 and 130 is the level I am looking at. Okay, so no rush, but look at this. Same box analogy that we talked about in the previous session. If it's in a box, it's in a box. Once it comes out of the box, you know, you can take the long trade. If it's coming down, breaking down of the stock box, then you can take a short trade. But anyways, look at this little blip because it's a weekly chart, little blip on the this one going up. Gold. So this is when it happened, right? Whole war situation. This one here, 12th September. And the day that Nasrallah or sorry, the Iran attack happened was this one, 1st of October. Look at this. It actually went up. But because it's in a tight channel like this, it hasn't come out and broken it, means there is no war situation going on as much as media wants to put it in a narrative. Otherwise, stock market is always forward looking. Okay, they would gold would have got gone up, and by the time we get the news, it's already too late. These people with the lots of billions of dollars, they get the news first, right? So because it's in the inside channel like this, I don't think war is happening, or at least not happening right now or this week. Um, Also, from a country to country perspective, Israel is a mature country. Okay, they are not like Hezbollah or anything like that. So what usually happens is it's a planned strategic uh, aspect that they have to look at. That they are going to have allies who are going to be affected. For example, if they hit Iran, then India is a neighboring country, oil importing country. They are friends with India, so all these sort of things, sort of geopolitical things, come into play. So they don't want to come out and just retaliate out of normalcy, just as a knee-jerk reaction. They are not Hezbollah. Hezbollah would do that. For them, they want to actually take a strategic steps so that they can finish it off, and they will eventually do it. But if the retaliation is timed, then it's much more strategic. If the retaliation is not in not is happens straight away, that means it's more reactionary, if that makes sense, right? So anyway, so that's what I'm looking at. um, CEO change. So Starbucks. Okay, look at this. Starbucks. This day the news came out. It jumped from $77 and opened at 91, and then it continued higher that day, 95. Right. So $100 is sort of topping out right now, but anyway. So yeah, and I just briefly looked at the CEO's profile. He overturned Chipotle, so that's why he got the job, to overturn Starbucks into what it was before. So again, very good. What was the shop earnings? So look at this earnings right here. It jumped from 53 all the way to 64. So if you measure this, it's quite a big jump. So as soon as, like, if there's, right now in the earning season, if you do this four earning seasons, right? Okay, so this was 17% move at the open. Okay, and look at the way it continued. Nice earnings, and then goes up, and then it actually broke out. So very good. Overhead, I think 90 was the resistance here, but that's fine. The good thing about playing earnings play is it lasts for at least 3 months. Okay, you can hold the trend for at least 2 to 3 weeks, and then if you want to sell it or whatever, you can at least make good money. So if you just entered here after the earnings that day, in 13 days, which is 2 weeks, you would have gotten 20%. Okay, here. So if you would have just, let's say, entered here 13 14 days. Okay, so if you see this 19 20%, 19%, and the 13 days is the number of bars, so basically 13 trading days, so basically 2 weeks. Good enough strategy, isn't it? That's what I look for. I look for the shortest amount of time in the market. My strategy is just wait for it. Don't worry. Don't have to fire every bullet every day. You wait for, keep the capital, and then once there is green light, as much as you can see the green lights, you pounce with most capital that you can deploy. Obviously, risk has to be managed, but that's basically my strategy. Okay, so and if it's see four times earnings are happening once in a while, these carry yen trade, whatever, this crap, all sort of things happening when market all of a sudden crashes like this day. Okay, so these are the days I wait for. If it happens 2 or 3 times and then there's 4 times the earnings, it's good enough for me. I don't need to keep money in the capital, stay invested or anything like that. uh, just subject to the risk and things like that, or diversify or anything like that. It's just um, not for me. I'm not that kind of a person. Okay, for for others it may work. I tried it. I'm not. I like I said, I have patience problems, so that's why I built my strategy based on my personality. Anything else you guys want to talk about? Questions? Oh yeah, sorry. One more thing I want to add. For any time when you are looking for, hey, if the crash is going to happen, or if the war is going to happen, this is your guide, volatility index. Okay, this is the day when the big, massive, that stuff happened, gap down, and everybody was with the coin trade and the crowd trade and everything, yen carry trade basically. We were shouting and yelling in the chat room, Nikhil and I. This was the day. Look at the volatility. Got it? Shoot up 65 that day. And then what happened? Came back down. Volatility cannot sustain on such a high level. Hello? So
Yep.
I'm looking at this and I'm looking at, okay, is the war going to happen? VIX is saying no, gold is saying no, commodities is saying no, DXY is going up. I mean, again, there's a China factor
So
because
you're
of
saying
that.
because volatility is low,
Yes.
your hypothesis is that.
Yeah, it's basically a guide I use. So if this were to close, say, nearby here, that means there's fear in the market. Okay, and this is basically inverse of, not inverse, but you can see the chart. Let's just put SPY chart. Okay, because this is SPY. Okay, so yellow. Sorry, close this. This purple one, the bottom one. Okay, it's basically SPY saying it's flat. It's a SPY chart. Okay, in a line form. I
Hmm.
can't make it candlestick for
Yep.
some reason. It is what it is. Um, so yeah, this look at this wallet. This is DXY, the US dollar index. It goes up. SPY stays flat, and volatility is coming down. Now let's look at the day when SPY was gapped down. So this was the day when the SPY was gapping down, right? Huge candle,
Hmm.
VIX. Look at this. SPY was panicking because of the yen carry trade and all that sort of stuff. And then what happened? volatility is designed to come down. It's just a measure of fear factor in the market. Fear cannot sustain for a very long period of time. Otherwise, people would have a heart attack. So
Mm.
fear. Okay, so then look at this market sort of slowly recovered, came back up,
Mm.
volatility came down. Okay, so and then again there was some sort of spike here, gap down, and then basically it stays up here, market goes down, but then market will pick it back up. I think this was September 3rd. So I think September 3rd को क्या हुआ था? When did Jerome Powell came back? Came and said rate cuts will happen and whatnot. I think 5th September. Anyway, I don't remember, but yeah. So basically, if you want to forget about the media narrative, tell them to go to hell. They are anyway. I don't like them. I did not like them from the very beginning. I just never had the measuring tool to back it up. Now we know that there is a measuring tool where we can look at the these sort of things and then sort of tell ourselves all is well, all is well. And it's not like I'm making these things up. It's my own study or anything like that. These are used by professional traders. So I've watched the people who are way more experienced and things like that. They use this and they're like, this is fine, no worries. So if they are saying it's good enough for them, it's good enough for me. Okay. Now it's good enough for you guys also. Okay. So yeah, that's basically what I wanted to tell you guys. Hope you have learned something new.
So if I were to sum it up, there's
Yes.
a couple of takeaways that you'd kind of come up with. One was DXY as a measure um of
Mm,
where SPY or where equities will be going,
correct.
right?
Yes.
So if DXY is going up,
Yep.
equities, like it's kind of an inverse relationship
Inverse
between
relationship.
DXY
Yes. Yes. Yes.
and
Yes.
equities, right? So
Correct.
one
Or
look at,
equities in general. Yeah. You can put
yeah,
DJIA,
yeah,
Dow Jones Industrial Average, or whichever index basically you're following that tracks the markets, Nasdaq or
right,
uh, Dow Jones Industrial Average or Russell 2000s or
right.
whatever it is. Yeah.
And there's an inverse relationship between DXY and gold. Is it like
Yeah.
did you also talk about that a little bit?
No, no. Gold is just independent by itself.
Ah,
Yeah. Look at this. DXY is just independently going up,
mm,
and then they're all sort of doing their own
mm,
thing. Gold is
right,
gold. Maybe there is a relation. I actually don't know myself. I have
right,
never
right,
looked at it or listened to anybody talk
right.
about gold and DXY.
So
But yeah, go ahead.
yeah, so one is of course DXY and the equities. The
Yeah,
second thing you kind of talked out about was major events and ma- first is major company events like earnings, like
correct. Yes.
CEOs coming in
Correct.
or
There.
joint ventures or things like
Correct.
that
Yeah. This.
as ploys to come in. But
Yeah.
prior to that, I think you also talked about playing large cap rather than mid or
Correct.
small,
Correct.
and kind of getting that part right.
Correct. So for anybody, I mean, I'm assuming most of us are now, in the chat and listening to us each other for a period of time now. What I would do is that I would keep three categories, large, but just by the market cap, right? And then your capital allocation should be based on that only, okay? But why I keep these three is because if let's say large cap is slow one day, but small caps is running, I'll focus on the small caps. If the small caps are slow, medium cap are running, I'll focus on medium cap. But this is when I was a day trader. This is what I was doing. Okay. So that I am not out of play. That oh, market is boring, nothing is happening. I will at least have three, four different sort of areas that I can go in between wherever there's an opportunity. Okay, does that make sense? But for For tracking purpose, I would say bloody track everything, man. Why not? If you are in front of the market, or if you can spend time in front of the market in the market open or at least pre-market, tracking should be done. As much as you track, better you would be. Faster you would
Yeah.
become. Faster you would become grow as a trader. I used to track so many things I could not keep up with it. My mind was, you know, going haywire. But anyway, at that time I was single also, so that's the thing. Whatever you can track will give you confidence. Whatever gives you confidence gives you ability to put in more money, because you have seen that event or that sort of patterns hundreds of times, or at least tens of hundreds of times, or whatever. Because you have seen it, you know exactly the ins and outs of how it works. And that's why that day when market was falling, and Nikhil said coin, I had other stocks in my mind that I was going to play, and coin looked at, and I'm like, coin is actually the best one, and it actually did perform the best. I did. I So basically I had CrowdStrike on mine, Microsoft and Nvidia. I had three other ones because they were coming to exact levels that it was coming to, and I'll show you this. But crowd I looked at, and it sort of fit in the perfectly. It was also doing the best it could. So here it was, coin. Okay. So this date was 5th of August. Okay, here. The fall that it had given intraday was 18 or 19% by the time I looked at it.
Hmm.
And then look at the jump it gave. This was from 161 to like 190 or something. In the first half an hour, it gave like 15-20% move. And I'm like, oh, 15-20% move in half an hour, I'm good enough. I'm going to sleep. I went to sleep. I exited the position. I
So
went to
you
sleep.
shorted this. So you shorted it on that day.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, no, no. I longed it. I longed it because
Okay.
it was gapping down. It was gapping down, right? It was gapping down here. And then I
Okay.
said 161 is the support area. It opened.
Mm-hmm.
Let me open this chart. 5th of August, right? Let me open this. Go to 5th of August. Oh man. 5th of August. Okay. Okay. And let's look at 3 minute. There you go.
Yeah.
Is this 5th of August? No, this is 24th October. No, let's go to 5th of August. 5th of August, go to what? There. Okay, perfect. So this is what it is. So it gapped down from here, going down, going down, going down. I told the group around here that 161 is going to be 20 minutes before. So around could be this around this time. 161. Look where it actually opened. 161. That's where I put the line. And my entry was like 161.5 or something like that. And then look at this. Immediately shot up. I took some profits here and took some profits here. That's it. And I said, go to bed. I don't need to stay in the market because I've seen this pattern so many multiple number of times. These gap down things happen, and then extreme panic happens, and everything is red. There's no other way but to go up, because at that day I sent the screenshot also. Everything is red. Everything, like, everything my in my watch list, everything in the heat map. So if I show
Yep.
you, let's say heat map, अभी ये तो इंडिया का है, but you can do the heat map of, let's say, Nasdaq, or all S&P 500. Okay, the everything bloody thing was red because everything was just haywire. So so yeah, you can do that. If you learn just to get the trading view, a lot of things are packed into trading view, and if we learn to use them, they're actually very powerful tool. You don't have to go anywhere else. Everything is available at the tip of your fingertips. All the information is available. Even the financials. I just discovered that people use financials from here. They just put financials, and then they do total revenue, operating expenses, all that sort of stuff on a chart. And I'm like, what? This is awesome. So that's why I did earnings. This yellow line you see, this is actually earnings. It gives me a guide as to how good the earnings are. It's a diluted EPS. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you can see this one is going up, going up, going up, gone up. So that's
Yeah,
why
I've
the
never used
stock.
financials in trading
Yeah,
before.
I never used it either. I just recently started doing it, and I'm like, यार ये तो gold है.
I know.
But yeah, anyway, so a lot of things you can do, not one. If you're just buy and hold, then all these things is just unnecessary noise. But yeah, learn to take profits and get into a habit of putting stop loss is going to keep you away from so many headaches. um, your capital is better in your bank rather than in a stock which is not performing. You can wait, because while you're coming out of the red to break even, you're missing out the opportunities that you can actually profit out of, because these are the patterns you have seen, and these are the daily problems that I used to face, that I was stuck in a stock that sort of given me gap, not gap down on me, but sort of gave me a bad taste, and then I'm stuck with it, and I'm like, let it bounce, and then I'll exit on the bounce. So in within the meantime, it takes 2 hours to bounce. I'm looking at the other opportunities, and this used to happen day in and day out. And I'm like, you know what? I need to start putting the stop loss so that at least if I'm out, I'll take the loss. I'll wait for the better opportunities throughout the day, because throughout the day, if you're just day trading, you have all day to make good trades, right? So anyway, you can do this on a daily or weekly or monthly time frame if you are not, day trading. Um, if your stock is giving you a stop loss, then just exit it. Wait for another one. Something or the other will actually come, right?
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense.
So I think Ashwin had some questions he wanted to ask about my this thing. To share. Ashwin, there, you there? No. Anybody has any other questions? Oh, the other tools. You guys wanted to ask, know about the tools, yeah?
I
Tools तो
think
I
Ashwin
think मैं
चला गया अभी.
अश्विन चला गया, नो वरीज. फिनविज है. इसमें आप लोग जैसे 52 वीक ब्रेकआउट स्ट्रेटेजी है, राइट? 52 वीक ब्रेकआउट स्ट्रेटेजी बहुत कॉमन है, और काफ़ी लोग यूज़ करते हैं. और ये कब काम आती है? व्हेन डज इट एक्चुअली वर्क? व्हेन द मार्केट्स आर ट्रेंडिंग अप. ओके, so if you look at SPY, it's nicely trending up. Once in a while, it will give you a headache, but overall, it will trend up only. Sort of correction and then trend up. So overall trend is up, right? So on the trending days, okay, let me repeat. On the day that it breaks out after this above, and then it's trending like this, 1, 2, 3, right? Two things you can look at if you want to get more conviction is this one, advancing and declining. Okay, percentage wise, how many stocks are advancing versus declining. So that this is basically the breadth of the market. Okay, understood? नहीं? हेलो?
तो हाँ, तो इसमें एक मिनट, तो हाउ डू यू गेट द एडवांसिंग एंड डिक्लाइनिंग?
नहीं, फिनविज में ही है ना. कैन यू सी माई स्क्रीन?
हाँ हाँ, मैं तो देख रहा हूँ,
अच्छा
तो
अच्छा,
एक मिनट.
ये अपने आप कैलकुलेट करता है
अच्छा अच्छा, तो यू
बेस्ड ऑन
डोंट,
द
नहीं तो
प्रीमियम, यही.
नहीं, बट मेरा क्वेश्चन ये है कि व्हाट डू आई हैव टू पुट
नहीं,
समथिंग, कोई अलग फिल्टर लगाना है या ये अपने
कुछ
आप
नहीं,
वो नीचे करता है?
कुछ नहीं है ये. दिस इज द होम
अच्छा
पेज,
अच्छा,
दिस इज द होम पेज.
हाँ
ओके,
हाँ.
because when the market is going up, it automatically says that it has strength. More stocks will be advancing than declining. Okay,
करेक्ट.
so 52-week high strategy is like a simple strategy. But if you want, आप मेरे जैसे हो, जिसको बेस्ट ऑफ द बेस्ट चाहिए, 80-90%, 80 to 90% वाला हिसाब चाहिए, I'd rather wait, but I'll get the quality. You can look at the all-time high. All-time high is like stock has never been in that territory. That becomes your safest zone. Okay, track it. Okay, I think there is in the technical. Okay, all-time high low. This here, new high. See how many stocks? 310 stocks. Okay, then you can put a filter ke put a filter of market cap. Obviously country, you need USA as a country, but yeah, this is the market cap here, right here. Sort it based on reverse market cap. You don't want penny stocks, take the big ones.
Obviously. Yeah,
ठीक
yeah,
है,
makes sense.
Exxon, you can't go wrong with this. It's an all time high, man.
Makes sense.
All the big major companies. Okay, look at this, how beautiful, so beautiful, so elegant, looking like a wow. Look at this. Right.
हाँ
And then you can reverse engineer, like if you get into reverse engineering habit में, जैसे मैं करता हूँ कि भाई इसका
हाँ
कोई भी एक स्टॉक उठा के जिसका मेरे को कोई आता पता नहीं है, आई जस्ट टेक इट एंड जस्ट ओपन इट. ठीक है.
and try to decipher क्या है.
हाँ, then you decipher. Look at this, beautiful, what a trend this is. wow, क्या अमेजिंग है यार. ठीक है, ये ट्रेंड को ही राइड करना है आपने, और कुछ नहीं करना है. ठीक है ना. अगर आपको चाहिए कि भाई ये तो ब्रेकआउट होने के बाद कौन लेगा, मेरे को तो 5% से पहले
एक
चाहिए.
मिनट, एप्पल का दिखाना. एप्पल, अभी एप्पल का क्या चल रहा है?
एप्पल का अभी है डबल टॉप पे है. इट्स नियर दैट टेरिटरी, बट वो अगर मार्केट ट्रेंड करेगा तो आ जाएगा ऊपर. 226 है अभी. ठीक है.
Nice.
So what I used to do, or what you can do also, is basically you take this. देखो ये देखो, अचानक से इसमें कुछ मोमेंटम आया, मतलब अराउंड दिस टाइम कोई ना कोई न्यूज़ आया रहेगा. ओके, अराउंड सितंबर, लेट अक्टूबर, लेट अगस्त, सॉरी. सो देन यू गो इनटू दिस न्यूज़ सेक्शन. इधर अगस्त के महीने से सितंबर का न्यूज़ में पूरा चेक करना चालू करूँगा. ये फालतू जो whatever they're saying, ओपिनियन पीस देते हैं उन लोग को इग्नोर करो. जस्ट लुक फॉर द एक्चुअल न्यूज़. याहू फाइनेंस, रियल विनर्स. ओके.
हम्म.
ब्लेड. ओके ठीक है. वाई जी.
तो जो अभी ये एक क्वेश्चन है मेरा, नॉट रिलेटेड टू
या
स्पाई बट एप्पल से, क्योंकि अभी एप्पल का वो जो ये अनाउंसमेंट हुआ था, ये इनका जो लॉन्च, ये फोन वोन का, उस पे उस टाइम पे कुछ हुआ?
नहीं, उससे पहले होगा.
लाइक
एप्पल
इज
का
इट,
ऑलवेज, एप्पल इज
नहीं नहीं
ऑलवेज
मतलब
लाइक दैट.
ऑब्वियसली नहीं,
हाँ,
बट
इवेंट कब हुआ?
वाज इट, डिड
when
इट?
was
हाँ,
when was the event? I don't know what when was the event. I don't
कि
track
चार्ट से ही पता
Apple.
चल जाएगा ना, चार्ट से ही पता चल जाएगा, चार्ट खोल के.
नहीं.
सितंबर में था ना?
हाँ,
September, which one?
आप पहले एप्पल
सितंबर
का
फर्स्ट.
चार्ट तो कर.
हाँ वही तो, उसके का चार्ट से ही खुल जाएगा, पता चल जाएगा.
एप्पल तो मेरी लिस्ट में है भी नहीं. नहीं
है
है,
ना,
सॉरी.
होगा,
वो
हाँ,
नहीं
हीरा
सामने
हीरा,
है,
है.
सामने
सॉरी
है.
सॉरी सॉरी, हीरा हीरा. ओके.
इवेंट ये रहा, अर्निंग्स है, लॉन्च आई थिंक. हाँ, 17, ये वाला है.
17th.
नहीं, ये जो दिखा रहा था.
This one.
One second, hold on, I'll search it up. September 12th,
September
is
12th.
it?
Yeah,
नहीं नहीं, सॉरी,
Thursday.
ये तो
Thursday.
15th ही है. नहीं 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 नहीं, सॉरी, 16th. September 15th,
15th. हाँ, तो
2024.
ये रहा. 16th को गिरा. It actually gap down, and then after 2 days, zoop, back up.
गिरा इसलिए क्योंकि आई थिंक एक्सपेक्टेशन लो. अब अच्छा अभी वो है,
पता.
बट इट इज ऑल्सो स्टिल, इसका अगर यू नो इट्स स्टिल जस्ट इन दैट बॉक्स.
हाँ, I just box, that the box that we talked about. Where is the box?
हाँ.
Sorry, what box? Say that again.
Consolidation box. So,
हाँ,
were you in that this thing?
like it goes down and then goes back up on
हाँ,
that
तो
same.
no, no,
Yeah.
I'll show you. I'll show you. Where is the this? अबे क्या हो गया? Where is my box, man? Yeah. Where is my box? Ah, there.
Yeah,
Okay.
it goes down
There.
and it stays within that.
Huh.
Hmm.
Mm, yeah.
Okay. You don't have to do much. As soon as it breaks out of this box, up or down, you take that trade. But for a stock like Apple, it will always come back up, doesn't matter what happens.
Mm,
So you sort of don't want to play the short game unless it's like very short term, right? That
mm,
you are going to do it for 2 3 days or let's say 1 week, not more than that. Because if you do that with Apple, it will always come back up. It's billions of funds are invested in this. Billions of government pension funds are also invested in this, right? So
Hmm.
we don't want to play with that. We don't want to compete with the smart people. We want to compete with the dumb people so that we can win. So that's why I went to penny stock. Because there you can compete with the truck drivers and these kind of people who can't sit in front of the computer. Okay, and then you can just be in front of the computer and be have an advantage over them. So that's was the idea. Anyway, so here you can look at all this news and all that stuff, and then
so you
try.
basically need the game stops to to be able to game it. Where when your grandma gets into trading, that's when you need to
That's it, man.
that's
That's
the
it.
play you need to play.
That's the play. That's why I'm always waiting. When there is a peak panic, that's the best performing days. So I said, you know what? Why do I need to crap it out? Like make money on one good day and then have 4 or 5 average trades and then lose money over it. And then I have to actually work also. So might as well keep it safe. When there's panic situation comes, enter it with full force, and then rest of the time go on the retirement or at least go about doing your day job or whatever. So that sort of works for me. But then again, it's a evolution that I've evolved into that, right? It wasn't the plan. I was like freaking 1 minute trader, man. I used to watch 1 minute chart like this, up and down, up and down, up and down. Oh man. but
Mm,
but anyways, you always evolve with the market because market is also evolving, right? Back then penny stocks, the OTC markets were hot, and then Wolf of Wall Street movie came out, and the SEC started shutting down all these scammy artists, and we knew the list of the names of all the scammy artists that were operating and how they operate, and there's legal counsels they use to get the stock listed. They're all common, it's like a little circle of scamsters.
mm,
तो सबको पता था कि अच्छा फाइलिंग में ये देखना है, इसका नाम आया तो ये करना है, तो ठीक था, ठीक होता था. But then SEC started halting those plays, and then people started moving into Nasdaq. So Nasdaq small caps. So then we sort of evolved into Nasdaq safe here. Then we started evolving into bigger companies, and then from bigger companies it came to other politics, geopolitical events, macro level stuff, and then now I'm like watching what Jay Shankar is saying and what they're talking about in G20 and freaking things like that. But yeah, anybody got a chance to get into Indian markets at all?
no, man, not in a meaningful way for sure.
No, okay.
Uh, did
ठीक.
you did you? I thought you were gonna figure out a way to invest properly, making the proper accounts.
हाँ हाँ, वो कर दिया, अकाउंट खुल गया मेरा.
हो गया तेरा?
हाँ,
क्या
अकाउंट
खोला है तूने?
ट्रेडिंग ट्रेडिंग अकाउंट ही खोला है जीरोधा से.
किससे?
जीरोधा.
Zerodha.
हाँ. Okay, so
जीरोधा.
maybe
But
I'll
how?
connect with
But
you and
वहाँ
figure
पे
that out.
नहीं,
हाँ.
but वहाँ
Funds
पे you are.
transfer and all, how do you?
हाँ,
So
वही मेरा क्वेश्चन था.
हाँ, तो basically for that I had to open a bank account. So that's why I took
NRO?
NRE and NRO. I opened both the accounts with HDFC.
Okay.
Uh, and then what? And then I opened an account with Zerodha. But the paperwork is a bitch. Sorry for my language, but it is a bitch. Oh, same documents that you send to the bank, you have to do send it to the Zerodha people. अभी जीरोधा में क्या होगा कि वो लोग केवाईसी करेंगे गवर्नमेंट की डेटाबेस के साथ, UIDAI ऐसा कुछ है. सब
हाँ,
कुछ तो भी
आधार
लंबा नाम,
वाला।
आधार।
आधार वाला, हाँ
हाँ
बेसिकली आधार वाला।
हाँ।
तो जब तक वो नहीं होएगा
तेरा
तो
आधार नहीं है?
है ना मेरे पास,
हम्म।
मिल गया मेरे को। तो
हम्म।
आधार, पैन कार्ड और ये सब डॉक्यूमेंट्स वगैरह चाहिए, ऑल दैट। बट एनीवेज वो फाइनली हो गया, बहुत लंबा प्रोसेस चला बट फाइनली हो गया। तो अभी मेरा अकाउंट चालू हो गया है, ट्रेडिंग वेडिंग कर
तो
सकते
उसमें
हैं।
ट्रेड क्या उसका वो कितना है, फीस कितना है?
ओ फीस तो यार, फीस तो है, कंपैरेटिवली है। यू कांट डे ट्रेड विद दैट, यू हैव टू डू स्विंग ट्रेडिंग, इज दैट्स द ओनली बेस्ट। और इंडियन मार्केट्स इतने वॉलेट, इतने लिक्विड है भी नहीं कि तुम डे ट्रेड करके निकल सकते हो 15-20% लेके एक दिन में, you know.
हम्म।
And while this process was going on, I was doing my strategy building and all this, how am I going to find the best stocks and all these things. तो देन आई फाइंड आउट कि साला न्यूज़ आती है 3-4 वीक के बाद, लेकिन स्टॉक चालू हो जाता है रन करना उससे पहले, वो मेरे स्कैनर में आ जाता था। एंड आई मीन
इंडिया में, इंडियन इंडियन स्टॉक यूँ टॉकिंग
इंडियन
अबाउट?
मार्केट में, यस।
अच्छा
और
अच्छा।
ये शेख हसीना का आया ना, तो आई
हम्म।
थिंक मैंने किसको बोला था, निखिल को बोला था, मतलब भाई तो मैंने शेख हसीना का न्यूज़ भी डाला था ग्रुप में। मतलब ये शेख हसीना गई है, मतलब टेक्सटाइल इंडस्ट्री इंडिया के पास आएगी। तो निखिल बोलता है हाँ हाँ आएगी ऑब्वियसली, राइट। तो मैंने अपना फिर पुराना डेटा निकाल के देखा, तो साला टेक्सटाइल स्टॉक 3 महीने से पहले बढ़ रहे थे। 3 महीने पहले से जब ये,
अच्छा।
हाँ 3 महीने पहले से धीरे 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 करके साला टेक्सटाइल स्टॉक मेरे स्कैनर में आ रहे थे। मतलब ये टेक्सटाइल स्टॉक क्यों जा रहा है, टेक्सटाइल का तो इंडेक्स भी नहीं है, कुछ भी नहीं है, एकदम बेकार सी थर्ड क्लास छोटी सी इंडस्ट्री है, राइट। कुछ उसका ना मार्केट कैप है ना कुछ है, और इतनी कॉम्प्लेक्स इंडस्ट्री में पढ़ेगा भी कौन, कुछ लिटरेचर भी नहीं है कि क्या पढ़ूंगा मैं।
हाँ
तो बट वो जा, छोटे छोटी कंपनीज जा रही थी ऊपर, लाइक जस्ट वियर्ड, ये टेक्सटाइल कंपनीज क्यों जा रही है, ऐसा कुछ गवर्नमेंट ने ना किया है ना ये, ऐसा टेलविंड है ऐसा सेक्टर के पास। बट वो साला उधर प्रोटेस्ट चल रहा था ना, वो स्टूडेंट वाला, बांग्लादेश में। तो उसकी वजह से इधर
हाँ।
पता नहीं क्या, कुछ तो भी इफेक्ट होएगा।
तो
तो
इंडिया में टेक्सटाइल इंडस्ट्री कितना जंप हुई थी तब, मतलब कि
वो
जब ये
धीरे धीरे
बांग्लादेश
करके
वाला?
नहीं, लाइक इट वाज कंसिस्टेंटली टेक्सटाइल स्टॉक्स वर गोइंग अप, इंडियन टेक्सटाइल स्टॉक्स,
अच्छा।
लाइक यू नो
हाँ
कॉटन।
इंडियन टेक, हाँ क्योंकि
हाँ
बेसिकली यही हुआ ना, फॉल बैक ये
हाँ
हुआ कि वहां पे टेक्सटाइल
हाँ।
बंद हुआ,
और
तो
जैसा
इट
ही,
केम टू इंडिया।
करेक्ट, तो जैसे ही शेख हसीना का आउट, वो शी गॉट आउटस्टेड, नेक्स्ट डे 3 मेजर टेक्सटाइल कंपनी के स्टॉक्स दे वर ऑन द अपर सर्किट।
ओ अच्छा।
तो दैट गोज टू टेल यू कि लाइक हाँ, अपना थीसिस करेक्ट है। तो
सही है।
बट ठीक है, दीज थिंग्स यू फाइंड इन अ स्कैनर एनीवे, वो स्कैनर पे आ जाता है।
हम्म।
मैं साला, आई वॉज टेलिंग अबाउट डिफेंस 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 डिफेंस, व्हेन आई पुट इन द स्कैनर एंड प्लॉटेड ऑल द न्यूज़ ऑन द चार्ट। क्योंकि इंडिया का
हम्म।
चार्ट, इंडिया का न्यूज़ तो यू हैव टू, देयर डिफरेंट दिस थिंग, बिजनेस सेंट्रल एंड अदर बिजनेस स्टैंडर्ड एंड दिस अदर मनी
राइट।
पोर्टल एंड व्हाटएवर, राइट। CNBC
मनी
money and all
कंट्रोल
this,
और व्हाटएवर।
money control of this thing. These things are not in trading view. So you have to manually plot the
हम्म।
news on the chart. Like this is what I do. So I take this, put a note, and then आज का date पे आया तो I put a note here, and then I just add okay news about
हम्म।
XYZ, right? Contract win या
हम्म।
जो भी है। तो and then I just leave it. So it's just hidden also. So you can do this with your own charts also. The companies that you're tracking. If you get a news, you just put it in here, and then it's basically stays hidden.
आर यू एक्टिवली ट्रेडिंग इन इंडियन स्टॉक्स नाउ?
आई एम लुकिंग एट इट। मेरे को कोई मिलेगा तो, अभी
अच्छा।
तो इंडियन मार्केट इज फॉलिंग बिकॉज चाइना इज सॉर्ट ऑफ गोइंग अप एंड money is being, the foreign portfolio investment, foreign investment is sort of going from India to back to China, but it's okay. It's just a temporary fall anyway.